Hi everyone, this is Clara with Card Stamping with Clara. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator for those of you who may have not have joined me before. And I hope everyone's doing well. We've had a much quieter week this week, and hopefully we'll keep having quiet weeks. It's always better than having unexpected crises. I'm going to be making this card today. It's a Christmas card, of course, and I did not put a sentiment on the outside. However, I did on some of the others. And on the inside, it says, "Sending love and light your way." So this is the card we're going to be making today, and we're going to talk about the items that we're going to be using today. Before we get started, I might mention to you that we have a host code here for September. It's still good for September. And if you spend less than $150, please use that host code. That helps me. And if you don't mind, push that subscribe button. So let's get at it here. The set is, just a stamp set, God's Peace, and it's really pretty. It doesn't have a lot of different images, but the two that it has are very pretty, and they coordinate really well. We have a nice Bible verse here. "Fear not, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which will be to all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord." Of course, that comes from Luke 2:10-11. Then we have another sentiment: "May you feel the glow of God's peace this Christmas. Love makes all things beautiful. Sending love and light your way." And so this is the cling set. It's a nice cling set, as you can see, one of the rubber sets, and I really like these. And this little set, as so many times when you use them, you just find out that there's a lot more use for it than you first think of it when you see it. But if you don't want to purchase, say, a die cutting machine, or if you just want to keep it simple with your purchases, this would be a really nice Christmas set that you could use and make without expending a lot of funds at Christmas time. And I mean, you can. The one I'm using today, the one I'm making today, does have a die cut in it, but a lot of these others I'm going to show you here in a second do not. So there's the set. I used the Swirls and Curls embossing folder to get one of the backgrounds. You just slide your paper in here, and this is one that you can run through the machine, and you just basically, depending on what kind of die cutting machine you've got, you'll just have to try to see what kind of extra padding or no padding that you may need around that layer. Like I said, the one thing that I did use was from this layering ovals set that I've had for a while. And these magnetic sheets that I originally got are not that great, so I tape a couple on the side, kind of let you see what comes in it. But this is one of my standards. I just really like these layering sets. And we're going to be using some markers, and I'll show you those as we go through making the card. And I'm going to use a punch today. This is called the triple banner punch, and I'll just pop it open here so you can see. There. What you do is you slide your paper in here, turn it over, and when you get it positioned where you want it, you just press. And this has 3 different sizes. So the one I made today was 2 inches, and then you've got 2 that are more narrow. So there you go. That comes in real handy too a lot of times. All right, let's talk about the cards that I made that we're not making today, so you can get an idea that there are other options from what we're making today. I made some in different colors, some in different designs, but I think they turned out right well. This one I put the scripture verse on. I decided to use green around this one. Excuse me. And I use blends to do this poinsettia. As you can see, I have the light and the dark. And some of them, especially on the embossed ones, I used water markers because the blends don't work as well with embossing as does the water markers. And so I did use the blends on this. And I stamped anything that I use the blends on, I always stamp with the Memento Tuxedo Black ink. That's the kind that you need for the blends. And I use it for a lot of other things too, but that's, you know, that's predominantly what this one is. This one I put Sending Light and Love Your Way. And I love these little poinsettias to put on the inside. I hope you can see those real good. There's 3 of them, and I decided I wanted to color them a little bit. And but I thought that added such a nice touch to the inside. So you only have this image and that one, but they really work nice together. All right. This one I did in red, and I decided to put a different sentiment on it. This one I left the poinsettia white. I believe that's, well, there's one other here where I left it white. But if you'll notice in all of these, the candles, I put 2 tones, the darker tone on the flame and a little lighter tone of something on the back. So this one is a little bit darker, and it was done in the Mango Melody, if you like a little richer color. So you might bear that in mind. And then the inside is very much like the other one. More poinsettias at the bottom. This one is what you call a one that developed. Let's put it that way. I started out and I had some edges that I didn't like, and I trimmed some off and reworked. So this is what I finally came up with. This one has that pretty, a touch of lace dye cut out. And it's over the real red. And then I put the image, I just cut out a rectangle around it, and I cut out another rectangle out of the real red that just gave me about 1/8 of an inch, maybe a little bit more around the edge of it. And this one, I used one of the stitched rectangle dies, and there wasn't one that would fit on my paper, so I just cut out a tiny little border around it to make it stand out a little bit more out of the real red. So you can see that this one is embossed to match the silver that I had. This was silver foil that I ran through the die machine, and that's what I got. And then this one is same deal on the inside, but this one being embossed, and it's got some shine to it. So if you like those kinds of things, I also put the little red rhinestones on it. All right. This one is done in the gold foil. I use the subtle embossing folder to put in behind it. I think it adds a nice texture. And this one is also embossed. It's embossed in gold. And as you can see, I didn't add any color to this one. It's just kind of an outline. And I also put the May You Feel the Glow of God's Peace This Christmas in, I embossed that in gold as well. And then on the inside, I put another layer of gold and embossed both the sentiment and the little poinsettias down at the bottom. So I thought if you don't like as much color, that might be something that someone would like. This one, I used some of the foil from the Noble Peacock Foil Pack. You get 3 different colors in that. One of them is Blueberry Bushel, and that's what I used on this one. And this is just stamped, and no embossing on this one. Just pretty colors. And the same thing on the inside. And I just used a sheet of the Blueberry Bushel on the inside. You could use foil if you wanted to. You could emboss it if you wanted to. You know, just depends on how much shine and what have you want, how much work you want to do. This one has a a green background. It's also, I use the subtle embossing folder, just like I did on the gold. It's not quite as pronounced on the cardstock, just the regular cardstock, but it's still pretty. And I did emboss the image, and I did emboss the words on it. And on the inside, I just stamped in the garden green, sending love and light your way, with the little poinsettias at the bottom again. Kind of made this one look like a package. That's why you've got the ribbon. I've got real red ribbon running both directions to make it look kind of like a gift. So that one's a bit different. And then this one is like one of the first ones that I showed you, only it's done in blue. So I thought that I would show you a couple of things in different colors and different textures, like the foil versus the regular cardstock and what have you. So we'll get to making this card here, and I'll show you how I put it together. Got my little bag here. I've already put part of it together, but that's just the inside for the sake of time. And these are the colors. I went ahead and colored it. Doesn't take rocket, you don't have to be able to do rocket science to do this, but I'll show you the colors I did use for this. I used a Daffodil Delight water marker, and this one is the Pineapple Punch. That's what I used for the back of that. And you could use two other yellows, whatever you choose to use. This one is the Garden Green for the greenery. This is the Blueberry Bushel for the ribbon, and the Real Red for the poinsettia. So those are the markers that I used. And let's talk about what you will need to make this card. It won't take long to put it together today, but I suspect most people are busy, and we'll just try to get through it fairly quickly. As always, when we get started, when we're making an A2 card, that's a standard greeting card, we start with a sheet or half a sheet of paper. I usually use Whisper White. That's what this is. It's measured 5.5 inches this way, 8.5 inches this way, and I scored it at the 4 1/4 mark. On the inside here is what I have already completed. Now, the one that I showed you and the one that's laying here is embossed in silver, and I'm going to show you the difference right now while we've got this open and I'm thinking about it. And then you can decide which you like better. This is silver embossed with the embossed flowers and then colored, and this is just with the Blueberry Bushel and just regular water markers. And both of them have a border of Blueberry Bushel foil, and one has a wider border than the other one. So you can just, gives you an idea of what your options are. All right. The things that you are going to need for this card, you're going to need 2 pieces of this pretty foil. I love this Blueberry Bushel, and this is cut at 4 inches by 5 1/4. Gotta have 2 of those. You also need 1 sheet of Whisper White that is cut, and please use the thick. I know that the white, they have a lighter weight white, but if you use glue on the back of it, you will see glue marks through. And it's just better to use the heavier grade, I think, personally, anyway. I don't know if I could show you. I had meant to put, sometimes you can get away with putting a, like tearing tape or one of those quick roll tapes that you can just put a little bit on. Sometimes you can do that, but if you look real close, you can see where the glue is on this one. And on the other one, I did not. I used a thick piece of the Whisper White, and you won't see anything. And that's the way I like it. I don't like to be able to see any of the glue. All right, I'm about to get sidetracked here. You do have to have a piece that's 3 3/4 by 5 inches for your sentiment for the inside. I hope I didn't confuse you. You have to have a sheet of silver foil that is, I start out with the 4 1/4 by 5 1/4 piece, something like that, that's a little bit bigger than what I want it to be when I glue it onto my card, because you know it's going to draw it up a little bit when you emboss it. So I suggest that what you do is use a piece that's just a little bit bigger than what you actually want the size to be. Like for this one, I cut it down to 3 3/4 by 5. So I started out with something a little bit bigger. And then that's going to lay there. This banner piece is 2 inches wide. And that's a skimpy 2 inches to get it to slide into the triple banner punch. You know, don't think you're going to have a tiny little bit more. It won't go in. So 2 inches, a little skimpy on the 2 inches. And this one is about 5 inches. What I did is I tried to make it, it's not quite 5. As you can see, it's just shy of 5 down at the bottom where it'll lay onto this silver piece. This is you'll have to have a piece that's big enough of the Whisper White to do this stamp on and do your embossing. And I'm not going to go through the embossing today. We went through the embossing last week, but basically all you do is clean your paper with an embossing buddy. Let me reach over here and get mine so you can see what I'm talking about. If you've not joined me before, this is an embossing buddy. And then you use Versamark ink and stamp your ink down, which is kind of a clear ink and it's sticky. And then you sprinkle your powder, your embossing powder that comes in a little jar. You sprinkle your powder over it. You thump it, clean off the extra like by blowing it off. You don't want to rub it because that'll ruin your image. But you can thump it like that or like that. And then take your heat tool and melt it. That's all there is to it. So that's kind of a real quick 1, 2, 3 to if you've kind of forgotten what the steps are. But anyway, and on the back of this, I just put some dimensionals to lift it up a little bit. So hopefully we're kind of prepared today. And what I'm going to do first is we are going to put this piece, which is the banner piece, onto the swirl and curl foil piece, the embossing. This is dry embossing. What I was talking about a second ago is wet embossing. Like I said, for those that don't know, just if you put your paper in here, this is just a little piece of scrap like that. Run it through your embossing, your die cutting machine, and then it comes out looking like that. Of course, you can't run white and get foil. You just have to put a foil piece in. That's just for an example. What I'm going to use today on the back of this, and the reason I'm going to do it is I did use glue on one of mine and put on this, and I just didn't think it adhered as good as it should have because there's so many lumps and bumps and holes and things from the embossing on this one. So this is tearing tape, and one advantage of this is it is you're not gonna have any glue that comes out on your foil, and it's real easy. If you get glue on your foil, it's just not a pretty sight, folks. That's all I know to say. Maybe I'm not the most meticulous person. I try to be, but sometimes I'm by nature a clumsy person, I suppose, and so I don't want to have a mess. So I'll use this. I'm going to put a little piece here. That one came off, excuse me. We will redo that. I don't use this much, but every once in a while it comes in handy. And this is one of those times I'm going to put a little extra piece right there at the top. I don't think we'll need it down the middle. And what this is it's on a roll versus one of those little self-dispensing things. And I'm going to reach over here and get my little pointy tool. All right. All you do is just like a piece of dimensional or something like that. You see, it's got a little protective covering that comes off. So you have sticky on both sides is what it amounts to. Okay. There we go. All right. I missed a piece there in the middle. That's not good. All right. Now then, this might be the trickiest part of all, is to try to get this spaced, eyeballing it, and get it about where you want it, where it's in the center. And you do want this blue piece to be flush at the top with your, there, let's see. I think that'll do it. I'm just going to use this so I'm not rubbing against the foil so much. I believe that's okay. I'm not sure that it's perfect, but I believe it's okay. All right. I'm going to take that piece, and then we're going to take this piece and glue it onto to that one. You could do this before or after you glue the other piece on. As a matter of fact, it might work better to glue the other piece before I do this, and I may just lay it down when I get these pieces off. It'll be ready either way. Let's just do it that way. I'm going to lay that right there. Won't hurt a thing. And we're going to put glue on the back of this. And try not to get too close to the edges. Where you've got more surface to catch than the banner, you just, you can just kind of bump along and get the glue in all the little places and what have you, and that's fine. You can get the glue, you can get it, but the very first one I had it centered real nicely, and it had not dried as quickly as I thought it would, and it slipped, and then it was not where I wanted it. Okay. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with this. I'm going to lay this down, and I'm just going to rub the back of it good. Make that straight. That way it'll seal it down good. All right. I believe we're all right on that now. Now we'll go ahead and put this piece on. I just thought this piece might be in the way to rub it down good, and for that reason I decided to back up and put this on second instead of first. All right. Didn't get my candle as straight as I wanted it. Oh boy, when it sticks to that, folks, it sticks. Even more than... Let's see if I can get that moved a little bit. Be warned if you don't get it down right the first time, you may have a very difficult time getting it up enough to move it any, because it really, those little dimensionals really adhere to that foil amazingly. Okay, all right. Okay, last step here is just to put this on, and we'll be finished. Since I did the prep work ahead of time. But you'll still know how to put it together. And like I said, this set is just really nice because even when you don't use an embossing folder or you don't use this oval die, and that is the largest smooth one that I used, smooth edged is what I'm referring to, instead versus scalloped. All right, let me see. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble this morning, but usually do a little better in the mornings and then the afternoons. That's why I do these in the morning. Okay, hopefully this is good. All right. See, that makes a really nice little card. And, you know, it's all that silver and color and everything really makes it look like Christmas. And there again, you can either use silver embossing on the inside, or you can use simply the blue. Let me lay one over the other there so you can see them side by side. Just stamped blue. But either way, it looks nice. And I just love the way those little flowers look, the little poinsettias look. And this one was embossed. So, all right. I hope this will be something that you can use, and that if you're looking for something fairly simple, this is the set to go for. You do, like I said, you don't have to have embossed backgrounds. You can put a plain background on it. I didn't think to do it, but you could have put a plain one here and still put this other stuff on it, and it still look nice. So it's just whatever you like, and I hope this has been helpful. The holiday catalog is out. This is a set from the holiday catalog, and there's a PDF on my homepage to the holiday catalog where you can go through it and look at it at your leisure if you would like to see it. It doesn't have a picture beside it. Like I said, my sister's been tied up with her son's accident, and so I haven't asked her to do the usual things that I do. I mean, just barely enough to get by right now till she can do better. But you can still get to it. You can still see what you need. I just wanted you to be aware there wasn't a real pretty picture on the home page like I would like for there to be. But the PDF is there. And it's all in color, and you can see what it looks like, and you can see what's available. So there again, I ask you if you would use the host code. And if you need something, I would appreciate your business. I hope that the tutorials are beneficial to you, and if you ever want some information, or you need, you have a question, just put it in the comments, and I will get back to you. I check for them regularly, and I'll get back to you promptly. So thank you for your time. Hope you have a wonderful week. The good Lord bless and keep you. And we will see you again next week. Thank you.